Welcome back to this the Live the Sunday Talk Show here on the Arise News channel. With me today I have Professor David Aworawo, Professor International Relations and Strategic Studies at the University of Lagos, and Yemi Adamolekun, Executive Director in Office and all, who I'm still expecting. Well, Prof, you are here with me in the studio. We're expecting Yemi Adamolekun to join us. But we've taken on 3 subjects. The increase in electricity tariffs, one subject. The fact that today is 20th anniversary of the genocide in Rwanda. And also the fact that today we are also looking at the issue of health, World Health Day. All of these issues in one day. You listen to our guests. What do you think, one by one, on those key issues?
I will just take them in the order in which they have been presented. And they also seem to be the order of importance. The first having to do with the hike in electricity tariff. Those they call Band A, whatever that means. From 68 naira per unit to
per kilowatt hour.
Yes, to 225. It has generated a whole lot of anxiety and comments from across the country. My thoughts are that the decision is not well conceived, and that the whatever increase the government decided to carry out should have been more gradual. There is what we call dysfunction in economic terms. And one of the things that causes dysfunction is this kind of astronomical increase. There is this thought that the Band A are the rich people, they can afford it, and so there's no problem. But the economy is intertwined. Those who think that, oh, I'm in Band B or Band C, so I'm not affected, is not true. Because, there is no part of the country where the very rich are not mixed with middle-income earners and the low people. And when you look at plus or minus, energy will just be priced out of reach for the average and low-income people. And besides, of course, we are also manufacturing, which also means that will be affected. And we also have institutions. I was just doing the analysis a while ago that right now, University of Ibadan, and Unilag, they pay about 120, 130 million naira every month on energy. They are all in Band A. If you times this number of this percentage of this increase from 68 to 225, they will now be paying somewhere around between 400 and 500 million every month. Where would they find it? That will also translate to school fees being increased. Otherwise, they will simply shut down on account of energy. Are they the rich people's children alone that are in? We are already complaining that the thing rose from 19,000 to about 130,000, 140,000, and then we are now talking about further increase. So I think the decision is ill-conceived. I also think that comprehensively, in the way the economy has been managed, there hasn't been really robust, all-encompassing analysis of decisions before they arrived at. And that is a problem that this government has. The focus has always been, if government remove this tariff, they will save 1.4 trillion. If you take some decisions like this and the ripple effect, you may get that 1.4 trillion and lose 3 trillion from the effect because of the dysfunction that the thing causes. So I think government should go and take another look at it, the impact on the overall, all the sector of the economy, and, proceed gradually, make haste slowly. These problems were not created in one day, and they will not be solved in one fell swoop. The impact on the economy will be very devastating. We already have Abuja Chamber of Commerce saying the thing will simply knock many out of business. Lagos Chamber of Commerce are already saying the same thing. And you wonder, how did they arrive at that? At 68 to 225.
Okay, Prof, let me just ask a simple question. In which band do you fall? Are you within band A? Because this may just be an angry customer, protesting. Are you in band A or band D or band F?
I don't even know the band. Where I live is not listed on. I didn't see it anywhere on the list.
No, there's a list.
Yes, a list, but I haven't seen where I haven't seen where I live. Where I used to live, I saw it on band B. Where I live now, I am not quite sure what band it belongs to. But I'm speaking as a honest Nigerian, concerned Nigerian, who is not looking at how. When I look at things, I don't look at how they affect me. I look at how it holistically. How it affects the entire country, how it affects the economy, and how it will impact on the quality of life of Nigerians. We could still pay a bit of whatever subsidy or whatever they call it for some time. Let us make it slowly. Let us proceed gradually. That is how economies that are stable and avoid dysfunction are organized. And that is the problem I have with this. I'm not saying that things should not increase, tariffs should not be removed. I'm saying that it should not happen in one fell swoop, as the government has done in this instance.
Okay,
yes.
Professor.
That is for.
Let's take a short break now. I see that my sister Yemi Adamolekun is now in the studio. We take this short break, and when we come back, we'll go back to the conversation with Yemi Adamolekun arriving in the studio. She's our queen. So,
34 million hectares of arable land, over 200 million people, one nation. Home to Africa's fertilizer company. Dangote Fertilizer. Pure urea fertilizer. With one single-minded passion to feed Nigeria. Every bag is a potential, an aspiration to turn this green nation into the biggest food basket of Africa. Dangote Fertilizer.
Welcome back to This Day Live, a Sunday talk show here on the Arise News channel. With me now, I still have Professor David Aworawo, Professor of International Relations and Strategic Studies at the University of Lagos, Nigeria, and Yemi Adamolekun, Executive Director, Enough is Enough, who is now here with us in the studio. Professor Aworawo, you had commented on
the hike in
electricity tariff. You
were
going to talk about...
I was going to talk about Rwanda genocide. But one more thing I wanted to just add to that tariff, that coming shortly after this movement of fuel price from 185 to 6 whatever.
85 naira to 225.
No. I mean,
fuel,
yes. I'm adding that, yes. That's the final link I want to establish. From 185, 189 to 6, maybe 620 or 605 or whatever it is. Even makes it more concerning. That, like somebody posted, does government want to kill us? So that is the other dimension. Why, if any increase was to be carried out, it should have been gradual, not this, out of the heaven increase that we now have. Then the Rwandan genocide. Well, so far so good for Rwanda since 1994, when they had that genocide, where in the space of a few months, hundreds of thousands, some say 700,000, some say 1 million, that were killed in that bloodbath involving the Hutu and the Tutsi in the country. So far, so good. They've been able to come out of it. The country is developing. The country has become a shining example of peace building and post-conflict reconstruction and all that. But there are still challenges in future, because there are different approaches you adopt when you want to resolve, when you want to do peace building, when you want to promote reconciliation. The path that Rwanda has adopted is the one we call collective amnesia. They've tried to say, let us pretend that genocide never happened. Let's just forget about it. Let there not be, let's not bring anybody, let's not create something that is explosive after that. And it has worked fairly well for them so far. For instance, I was in Rwanda a few years ago, and nobody wanted to talk about the genocide. That's the approach they have adopted, which is good. But post-Kagame Rwanda, how will it look like? Yeah. That is the big challenge ahead, and that should be the focus. Then finally, World Health Day, yes, issues affecting global health, I see there, coming just shortly after the pandemic, preparation for such occurrence in the future and things to do to avoid such in the future. The diseases that have been endemic all over the years that remain there, what the World Health Organization is doing, they've done fairly well over the years, and it's just for the global community to continue to listen to directives and suggestions when they are provided, so that global health will continue to improve accordingly.
Okay, Yemi, electricity hike, Rwanda, World Health Day.
Right, electricity hike. I think what's interesting, some of the issues have also been mentioned. Really, the fact that you have people not in the same economic class that are in the same area, that based on the randomness, not randomness, but based on the infrastructure that we have in Nigeria, of where bands are. We've seen a number of the discos downgrade people that were initially on band A to band B and claim it was a glitch in their system. But I think what's more fundamental in this challenge with putting people in bands is that you are prepaying for power. So I prepay on the assumption that you're going to give me 20 hours a week or 16 hours a week or 12 hours a week. And when you don't, you've now given me the work to prove that you didn't, and then ask for a refund. And I think that's way too much work to give to consumers, and that's something that NERC needs to look into. Because even if you look at the band, even under the old tariff, between 4 and 8 hours, E and F is 3 naira per kilowatt hour. Then between band D and C, the difference in price is 13 naira. Between band C and B, the difference in price is 13 naira. And then the difference between band B and A was just 5 naira. And that's the one that you've now increased into 225. So it does seem very, very arbitrary. And within the larger economic context of you announce a price increase the same day that you implement it, I don't know, I'm not quite sure where that gets done. And I'm probably sure there's some regulatory rule that they violated. Well, let me not say I'm sure. It would actually be, one would think, commonsensical that would be against regulations. You don't plan a price increase when it's, and implement it immediately, and not allowing people time to even just plan and understand what band am I on, how does this affect me. And then lastly, let me leave electricity tariff for now. Then secondly, we talked about Rwanda. The key point I would say for Rwanda really is post-Kagame, because you can't, in a sense, compel people not to talk about something that has shaped their future and not allow opposition voices and think that everything is all right. Yeah. So yes, we can celebrate what Rwanda has become in terms of development, in terms of a government that's also very clear. So Paul Kagame has been very unequivocal in advocating for his country and advocating for his people. So when it comes to dealing with developed nations, he's not cowering, cap in hand. He's coming to the table with them as equals and having that conversation. You give him credit for that. But it's a challenge when to do that, you have to remain in power. and you have not enabled a vibrant opposition so people can debate ideas and contest with you. So if anything happens to Paul Kagame, that would be the real test of how well Rwanda has done post-genocide. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay, no, this is what I think we can also add to the conversation. The Band A that government is talking about. There are many communities, including universities and other strategic institutions in this country that have not received electricity for up to 20 hours a day.
Yeah, very true.
And they are saying this Band A that we keep talking about is fictitious, is deceptive. And what is the guarantee that the Nigerian government can serve the people effectively? After all, they had to find Abuja Disco because Abuja Disco did not obey the rule about the band. And then talking about Rwanda, okay, we keep praising President Paul Kagame. Rwanda is a representative, or rather represents, to speak simple English, benevolent dictatorship in Africa. I will say, okay, because Kagame has done well in Rwanda, then benevolent dictatorship is the way forward. That's a question we've not been able to answer. However, there are lessons to be learned, I agree, from Rwanda in terms of ethnicity, in terms of promoting national unity. That Kagame has done well in that regard in the last 20 years. Doesn't mean he should stay there forever.
No. And he is Tutsi. So who comes after him? Will he be Hutu? Who are the majority anyway? So there are a whole lot of questions that are left unanswered.
Yeah. But can we quickly say this on just your point about Band A? Yes, they're the key institutions, because the claim, which Mr. Dagogo Jack said on the show earlier, was the band was a function of available infrastructure and what's there. But your point that you made that is very critical is it's not the fact that they say you will get 20 hours, what we've seen. So the number of hours being promised is not necessarily new. It's the tariff that's new. And so the fact of the matter is that the promised hours, they've not delivered on it. And that's the point I was trying to make, is that because we prepay based on that promise, you've now given us the burden of proof to document. In my estate now, we have a logbook that we're documenting how many hours. Someone actually tweeted their own logbook to show that they have not delivered. So you're giving people work to do. And in Abuja Disco and also I think Ikeja and Eko Disco, they quickly downgraded some people from Band A to Band B. And people haven't paid at that Band A rate, and it's not the first time. There's the process to get your refund, as with anything government or related, becomes very problematic. Lastly, telcos. It works for telcos because people can see the service. So every time telcos either are chopping your data quote and unquote or increase their tariffs, there's a bit of grumbling. But it's not as drastic as we see in this regard, that you now don't get the service.
Well, so we look forward to possibly a regime of litigations.
Yeah.
Let's take this final topic, and I'll come to you, Professor Aworawo. Professor, Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has officially signed the student loan bill into law. The bill's enactment comes after the repeal and reenactment of the Students' Loans Act of 2023, following a campaign promise by President Tinubu. Initial delays led to a mixed start date January 2024. During a brief signing ceremony at the presidential office at Aso Rock Villa, President Tinubu reiterated the vital role of education in poverty alleviation and reaffirmed the government's commitment to ensuring that every citizen has access to quality education and opportunities for skills development. Well, Professor Aworawo, the law has been revised.
Yes.
But I know you are your people. You say, oh no, forget about loan, give grants. But what the Tinubu administration has been able to do is to take a second look at the law and say, well, there are omissions. Don't let us implement it until we correct. Do you have any problem with that?
No problem at all. The new law, I've looked at it, is far better than the 2023 law. Just to mention a couple of things. That requirement that you must go and bring somebody of a lawyer who has served no less than 10 years, level 12 and above and all that, that is no longer there. So what that means is that people can easily access the loan, you know. Second is the fact that other bottlenecks, such as your parents' loan history, must be looked at before you know whether you get or not. That's also not there, you know, right now, and a couple of other things. And of course, they also add skill. Those interested in acquiring skill, not just those, you know, in the tertiary institutions. So, so far so good. If they're able to just follow the law as it is, and again, that payment is 2 years after NYSC, before they start asking, what are you doing now? And you should start paying, of course. We also know that very few people get jobs 2 years after NYSC. So
that hasn't changed.
Yeah, they have to look at how to, you know, work out all of that. Then, of course, finally, where the loan can be written off, force majeure, as of God, death, somebody who has died, you won't say the family must come and pay the loan, you know, all of that. So the new law is far better than, it's good. If the board that has been established to administer it, if they do it well, it will help so many people who otherwise would not have gone to school to be able to acquire higher education.
Of which you are a member, is saying that, look, it should be a grant. It should not be a loan.
Well, the loan thing is good. Well, people still get scholarships. There are still scholarships at different levels. People are giving, where people get grants, they won't pay back. But having the loan there as a buffer is good. The existence of this loan does not write off, other scholarships that are available. Shell here, Chevron there, and all that. You know, their loan arrangements. Even state governments also have theirs. Some local governments even have theirs as well. So when I was head of department, I signed, papers for many students who were to be sponsored by some organizations here and there. So there are others. So this one is a buffer. If you can't get these other ones and then you take a loan, nothing is wrong with it. And I don't think government really has that enough money to be able to take care of everybody who is interested. So if you cannot get a grant that you don't need to pay back and you get a loan, that makes sense.
Okay. Yemi Adamolekun.
I mean, for me, my position on tertiary education in Nigeria is still very simple. Autonomy for the universities. I think we're joking in the 21st century that the federal government is still trying to control the quality and quantity, quote unquote, of students that go through our tertiary institutions. The only way that universities in Nigeria can be competitive in the 21st century is for them to get full autonomy and get either infrastructure grants, scholarship grants, whatever it is you want to call it from the federal government, but they need to be able to control how they run their universities.
Well, thank you very much, Yemi Adamolekun. I understand where you are coming from. You are a university.
I am. Oh yeah, and I say that as a university child.
University daughter.
So fully.
A university child.
With pride, with pride.
And thank you, Professor David Aworawo. The point you are making about grants, that's our position too.
Yeah, but of course, we also have liberty to look at the whole thing holistically and say, look, well, things done this way is also good. If we had all the money and they can fund everybody, fine, as they do in the Scandinavian countries, but we do not have that. So if we have a buffer to enable people to go to school and pay later, it's fantastic.
Well, thank you very much, Professor David Aworawo. You've been watching This Day Live, the Sunday talk show, here on Arise News. I'm Ruben Abati from our entire team here in Lagos. It's bye for now, and thank you very much for watching. See you next week.